Okay, hello everyone, so today we'll be playing 10 hands with the GTO Wizard. It's cash 6 max on the NL50 and we're gonna be doing flops, any pre-flop action. So let's get to it. Jack 10 first hand and we're the button against the big blind defending. So what happened is we raised, then we got re-raised and then we called. Okay, so the GTO is uncapped with the range here and we are the in position player. We are faced with a check. We have the mid pair with a good kicker on a 3-tone board, so quite likely it's on a flush draw, might even have the flush. I think this is a pretty good check here, and that's gonna give us a little bit of incentive to carry on, because now we can make the full house. Beating the flushes, obviously they can have the full house already, but I don't think they will be raising with a king 9, more like pocket kings, pocket 10s would be unbeatable hand here, so fold is quite reasonable, but faced with a small value bet we can float on the river. That's a queen and we're faced with a check. Well, it's an interesting check. We can possibly bluff it here, or we can check behind. Either way, we're fine. Let's go with a check here, and basically we could have done a value bet on the flop. Then it was callable 100% of the time, apart from 3 raises. Actually re-raising that would be, but not preferable, and then we could have checked, but that was kind of passive move. We could have gone with 35-50 or 35-60 or 85% both raise, so yeah, that would be a possible thing, but obviously they had 2 pairs, so we kind of played the GTO, sensing that it had a strong range from the beginning. Obviously didn't check it because we thought they have the 2 pair. We were thinking there with the full house or flush, potentially a top pair with a flush draw, something like that. So let's go to the next one. King 10 and we're on a straight draw. There is 2-tone board, ace jack 8. So we can go with a small value bet here, it's not a big deal. Some of the straights complete. Now obviously if we had the straight draw, probably would have checked anyway, so it's quite reasonable to go a little bit passive. And now we have another card that is helping towards the straight, so we can do a little bit of bluffing here, looking to fold the GTO, obviously not this time, it has the top pair, and we kinda did a mistake on the river, so it was almost 100% of the time checkable. With a few occasions we could have bet, and then turn was the place we wanted to go a little bit more aggressive, obviously more on the mixed strategy side, and basically 50% 3/4 and oversized bet were the more preferable ones. We could have done some big oversized bets as well, or go a little bit passive was fine. And then the river was kind of a mistake, going with the 60% bet. Let's actually see what happened here. So the most preferable thing would be the check, and anything else was basically any bet was negative EV apart from 300%, which was 0 EV. Interesting. And now we have 4-3-2 of 2-tone, and we just called as a small blind. The big blind checks, and this is kind of the spot we can go a little bit aggressive. and we're gonna get caught on a 3/4 bet. This is the second tree. They have quite capped range in my opinion, so we need to be careful of definitely not ace 5, but 5/6s would probably be a race already, more like a 5x's, 6x's, this kind of hands we need to be careful with, or like ace offsuited with a small kicker, possibly a 2, so they have like something like 2 pair. It's quite okay to go with a check here, and then we're gonna be faced with a bet, probably a fold. So we did kind of mistake on the flop, but incredibly good read on the hand. They had the low pair with flush draw, and they just called, so we're not gonna see the readings on this one, but at least we kind of like predicted the GTO, which is okay. King Queen, King 8 suited against Queen Jack 4 board with the raise from the hijack, which we defend against as the big blind cold calling. So we can only pass the action being the out of position player to them, and that's gonna be a check behind. So now we have a flush draw board, so we can bluff it a little bit. Let's do a value bet. 1/3, and we're gonna fold the GTO, but that was a blunder. So we should have gone very small if any, preferably checking here. But we did alright because the board allowed us to bluff it a little bit, and they were on the straight draw. They want to pursue the river, they want to fold. So even though a blunder, we managed to fold the GTO. I think better would be to try to fold it with a small bet, but still a good move, and check was 100% move on the float in this situation. Let's see the next one. Jack 7, so what happened is we are big blind, cold calling the 3-bet on of the small blind, and now we have check from the small blind, and we are the in position player who can check behind. And that's another card that doesn't really help any of us, apart from the fact that their range is quite strong. Definitely can have the ace 5, but I believe is a good spot to try to bluff it a little bit. So 50% stop would be okay, check is okay, and 3/4 is fine as well. Let's go with the 50% stop this time. We want to get called, and now what happens is we get an easy check, so we can check it behind, or we can go with a little bit of value bet, but by this time they can have the full house already just with the queen x's. So let's check it. Ace 9, and that was the correct move. So we could have gone with a bet on the flop, very small amount of the times. Check was the preferable move, and then we had pretty much the options we mentioned. Check was still preferable, but was going more on the 50% stop size, and quite some time we could have gone with a small value bet or a little bit bigger bluff bet, and check was okay here as well, even preferable. And then by the river we could have gone with continued double barrel, or we could have just checked. It was pretty much around the same EV, so kind of fine. Yeah, that was a team value hand. They did it with the ace high against the jack high. So now we have the pocket 6s against the cutoff. We're defending with a big blind, so we can one way we can play it is go passive. Another ways we can do a value bet and turn it into a bluff hand, so it can either be in our checking range or our betting range. Let's go with bet this time. On a king 9-8 king, 3-tone flushable board with full houses. Well, that's quite checkable in my opinion, even though we could have continued the barrel, and now that we have a check behind, this is a strong incentive to go a little bit aggressive on that the river with 3/4 bluff, and that was the wrong move, unfortunately, because we should have checked on the flop according to the GTO, and they actually had the second needs after the full houses. Basically a needed flush, but with full houses present we could have bought it, so we didn't manage to make any full house. Another king or 6 would have given us the needed hand, but yeah, we missed it this time. At least we tried to bluff the GTO. Obviously it wasn't gonna fold with a flush, but yeah, I should have gone a little bit more passive on that hand. So ace-3, top pair, low kicker, it says 8-7 to turn board. We can check behind from the small blind, which we raised actually, so we're with dunk up range and they called us, so we can start the barrel strategy here. Let's go with value bet, and now we are faced with a raise against the GTO. That's probably a fold. Even against the real situation we shouldn't be folding this one, and that was a call though spot, and we got a raise from Jack 10 suited. That's kind of weird. But basically they needed a 9, king and queen to get the neat hand, unless until another spade came in. And that's kind of weird from the GTO. Next time we are calling this one. King 2 suited, and we got a raise from the UTG and we called it. So let's pass the action to it on ace queen 8 to turn board. And we got 3/4. Let's fold it here. So it was a check, and we had no business in this flop. 9-8, we get a check from the big blind, which we raised as a small blind, and we got called. So we have the 9-8 suited, and we're faced with a check. That's quite reasonably a value bet, and that's gonna be a fold. We could have check here as well, the value bet was okay, even more preferable than the check. Bigger bets would be kind of not okay, especially oversized bets would be out of the scope, and all-in is not needed commentary. So ace-9, ace-8, we have button, we raised against the big blind defending on queen 7 to turn board. So in this kind of situation where we get faced with a check from a capped range, we might want to go with a value bet, or we can check behind. Either is fine. This time I will choose to check behind. Now we have the third spade, so flush is possible, straight is possible, and we get like very small, it's like 1/3 value bet. So yeah, when the GTO has the flush, I don't think it will be betting, so it's sort of either a queen X with a flush draw or a small pair, so we can go with a 50% raise here. I think it's not gonna be approved by the GTO, but at least we are getting the chance to go for team value. So now we can try to fold it, but I think the check is the better move here. And if you were going to be trying to fold it, probably oversized bet would be the best idea. And we actually folded the GTO, so since we made a mistake on the turn raising it, which was still positive EV, honestly, just we could have gone a little bit on the passive side, and it's 2 pair. So we did kind of a great job folding the GTO with 2 pair. So this is how you can play it when they start utilizing the GTO bots in the real games. You can just raise the turn, overbet the river, and then you're folding the GTO on first board with straights having the 2 pair. So that's a interesting way to exploit the GTO itself, even though it claims to be unexploitable. Seems like it cannot reach that far, but we know already it works in a real game, so we just apply and see how it works against the GTO itself, and it still works, so it's a good exploit. And that's actually the last hand for today. Thank you for watching, and catch you in the next time, where we're gonna be learning how to further exploit the GTO, if we can, because it's not the easiest thing to do. But yes, until the next time, we will catch a break and see what else we can apply exploitatively against it.